Time for our Genesis Science Q&A. You've probably heard me say before that natural selection is the false god of evolution. Well, Idris on YouTube wants to know, why would natural selection be a god? It basically means that the organisms that are more adapted will survive and thus pass on the genes. The thing that creates individuality amongst organisms is mutations, when DNA fails to replicate the right way. The offspring of the more adapted species will then produce other offspring that are slightly more adapted, and so on. Thank you for that question and a comment. You know, you asked a question about natural selection, but then you went on to define natural selection as survival of the fittest. And then you pivot to describe mutations, only to equate mutations with adaptation. In other words, in a couple of sentences, you hit on 4 different biological mechanisms. So let's unpack this just for a moment. Natural selection is the false god of evolution because nature doesn't have a mind. When you think about it, basically it's like saying, oh, just give it enough time. Mother Nature will handle it all. You see, nature can't select a thing. Organisms can adapt to different environments, and you touched on adaptation, which is a very true, very real mechanism that we can observe, study, and empirically demonstrate. Mutations do happen, but they're also very harmful for the most part in nearly every case. So mutations can't provide natural selection, it can't provide Darwinian evolution. And so that's what I mean is natural selection is basically a god. It has these magical powers that will somehow take an organism, take a creature, and make it better and better and better and better and completely different, radically different, until you've got fish to bird to ape to man to giraffe to hippopotamus. And it all happened from one tiny single-celled organism in the beginning that magically sprung to life. It's full of magic. It's a fairy tale. And when we think about the fairy tale of evolution, it is hinged on a pantheon of atheism, a pantheon of gods that evoke magical powers to make the fairy tale of evolution work. The god of natural selection, the god of time, give it enough time, anything is possible. The god of spontaneous generation, well, somehow life burst from a rock sometime in the distant past. All right, all of these supernatural gods, there is no evidence for them. They break the laws of nature. It's pseudoscience, and it's time to move on. I love getting these types of comments, though, because this is our public perception of Darwinian evolution. This is our public perception of natural selection, and we don't really understand how supernatural it all is. So we love being able to engage with our viewers. I want you to keep the questions coming. You can submit yours on social media, or you can email it to us at comments@genesissciencenetwork.com, and maybe we can actually address those comments on the next episode of the Genesis Science Report. Now, if you want to learn more about the role of natural selection within the framework of evolution, or the failures of that mode of thinking, we have a great resource for you to learn more. We recently had Dr. Randy Galuza at the Wonder Center to speak on this topic for our monthly Unwrapped event. If you weren't able to catch it in person, you can actually watch a video copy of Unwrapped, Doing Biology as if Darwin hadn't been born. You can get it on DVD, digital download at the Creation Superstore. In his presentation, Dr. Galuza challenges conventional thinking, and he offers a biblical engineering-based perspective on how organisms function and adapt. His presentation covers key points such as the flaws in Darwinian explanations of adaptation, how an engineering-based approach aligns with biblical creation, and he also introduces the concept of continuous environmental tracking as an alternative model for adaptation. And it also features real-world examples of rapid organism changes that defy evolutionary expectations. You can get your copy of Unwrapped, Doing Biology as if Darwin hadn't been born at the Creation Superstore. So go to creationsuperstore.com or call 931-212-7990 to order your copy today.